Morning, gang. What a lovely day. Look at this. I mean, January. It feels so warm. The ground's frosty and very hard. I think it's going to be a bit of a tough dig. Hello. Hi. You're a mum now. Oh, your baby's lovely. Well done. Oh, you've got another one. Oh. Spring is on its way. It really heals you, doesn't it? Feeling the warm sun on your face. So I've returned to Devon with renewed vigour after my Roman fields experience, which initially made me think, oh, I'm going to find it so tough to come back to an area that isn't so prolific with finds. But I was really lucky. There was a movie being shown at one of our local villages. This is the kind of thing that happens in Devon. You kind of make your own entertainment. It had been made in the 1990s by a local guy, all about 5 beaches that are along this stretch of the coast. It talked all about the history of the area where I live from Bronze Age up to the present day. They showed a section of footage, which I'm going to share now, about a man who was walking on the beach and he found Bronze Age object just there lying in the sand.
During the early part of January, just after the big storm, and I was just walking on the beach looking at the tide line basically, and as I was walking along I saw what appeared to be a copper pipe in the sand, so I bent down and picked it up, and lo and behold, it was a spearhead, a Bronze Age spearhead. The curator from Exeter Museum came down and he had a look at it and he said it's late Bronze Age, and he put an age on it of around about 2,700 years to 3,000 years old. He said that Bronze Age man was quite active around this area.
So just as a recap on where I am on this permission with my finds, nothing Bronze Age yet, but I have found one Roman coin. This object is a Roman sestertius. This is the oldest thing I found up here. It's really a chunky unit. Not much on the other side to see, but this side you can still see the bust, although his nose is gone. Then we get into the medieval stuff. We've got the pot leg, really quite a big one actually. A lovely fragment of some kind of, I imagine, some kind of drinking vessel, again made of a quite a bronzy material. I don't know how old that is, but it does feel pretty old to me. A ring loop, definitely medieval in date because it's got chamfered edges and file marks on it. Lovely object. There's my Henry VI coin, and it's only recently that I've noticed that his face is the face of a boy. He was born in the early 1400s, and at the time that this coin was made he was about 10 years old. It was in his first reign. He had 2 parts to his reign. He came to the throne at 9 months old, and when you look at his face you can really see that it's not the face of a man at all, which is rather lovely, I think. It's a very, very nice coin. It's the annulet edition, which is denoted by those rings underneath his ears, and it's made in Calais in France, not so far across the sea from here. Underneath that is a jeton. Although it looks like a coin, it's not in fact a coin, it's a counting token. It has a fleur-de-lis motif on it. You can't really see it, and obviously it's got a hole through it. It would have been strung to someone's piece of string or a necklace to keep it safe. A couple of nice buckles, both early post-medieval in date. Signs of smoking and drinking going on the fields, a barrel tap and a pipe, clay pipe. Both of those will be post-medieval in date. This is the butt stop of a flintlock pistol, and quite possibly a lady's one. It's quite a cool find. Again dated 1700s, 1800s. Buttons, This last one is a military button from the Victorian reign. And signs of skullduggery in Devon. My £1 weight that doesn't weigh a pound, which was probably being used down at the Pilchard market at the port. So lots of objects there, right through from Roman up to Victorian, that tell the story of people moving through this landscape. First hole! Wow, the ground is really, really frosty and frozen inside. Interesting little object has just come up out of the ground. It looks like it might be gold, so I'll turn you around and you can have a look for yourself. Almost looks like a bead or something. Don't want to get too excited here, but let's take it in the sun, get the full effect. I don't think it is. Oh, it looked gold, didn't it, for a minute there? I don't think it is. I think it's just stained in the soil. And that's the cruelty of this hobby, isn't it, guys? So my theory about this field hasn't quite worked out. My theory is, in this field, that it's got a fantastic view. I can see down to where the Bronze Age port was. I can see right down through the estuary valley and out to sea. So I could see approaching boats. I can see the spit of land where I know there were settlements in Bronze Age times, and then after that Romano British times. So it makes sense to me that this field, which has the most brilliant view, would have been used by people, whether just to rest and look at the view, or as a lookout, or somewhere to camp. But so far it's produced absolutely bugger all. I've been in here a few times and just found lead, scrappy bits of metal. Today I thought I found a bit of gold, but it wasn't. It was just, I don't know what it was, some kind of, I think it's just like a washer or something, but it's stained and it looked like gold. My God, it got my heart going for a moment. I thought it was a bead. So I'm going to move. But I'm back in the field where I found that really interesting fragment of a bronze vessel. Some kind of drinking vessel, I think, because it has the kind of diameter, or should have done when it was whole, that would have carried some kind of liquid, I think. It's really a lovely piece of bronze. I don't know what it was, but it was adjacent to the lane anyway, and I'm hoping I'm going to find evidence in here of ancient movement of people. I mean, obviously I'd love to find something Bronze Age. I'm sure there will be things here. But I have found buttons. I found lots of evidence of people living here since the farmhouse was built in the 1500s. So, let's see. I've got something here, and it's in the plug. Ooh. I think we've got a coin. Let's have a look. Yay, we've got a coin. Not sure we're going to be able to tell what that one is. Looks like a shield. Nothing on the other side as far as I can see. For best results, George Cutland, Wellington. Well, I'm hoping for best results, George. So let's see what kind of luck you bring me if I put you in my finds bag. Right, I've got a little object here. Got an interesting colour to it, hasn't it? An interesting shape. That's a button, isn't it? Lovely. It's a coin. Yeah, sadly not much to see there. As much as I love the soil, I don't really want to drink it. So far, this field is giving up, I guess, what you would expect from a field that's adjacent to the main farmhouse, which is coins and a button and that lovely fragment of bronze vessel, which I'm sure there must be more pieces of that here in this field. I've gone all around the area where I found it, and I've gone down the hill from it in case it's been kind of pushed down by the plough. I haven't found anything yet, but I'll keep trying. I was just thinking about that film I saw, and another interesting part of it was about the history of smugglers here where I live. They're smuggling things like rum, which was really expensive and you had to pay high taxes on it. And in the neighbouring village, what they used to do was they used to bring it in the dead of night, roll the barrels up into the dunes and hide them. And then when the time was right, they used to carry them up to the church in the village and climb up on top of the porch to the church and hide them on there. Even though the vicar was really, really anti-drink. It's so cheeky, isn't it? So brilliant as well, like hiding it in plain sight. I was thinking, wouldn't it be great to find some smugglers' history? And then I remember I have found that flintlock pistol buttstop, and possibly that was a smuggler's pistol. You never know. I can hear birds everywhere, and it feels like the light's coming back to us. A memory of our distant past. This is a Butterwell. And Devon being a region which is famous for its dairy products, its cream and butter, yoghurt and cheese. This is a way that dairy products would have been kept cold. And it's made with the local stone, slate, and it's built into the side of the hedgerow here, where there must be a spring, because the idea here is that the spring water keeps the stone cool. I actually tested the theory in the summer and put a nice lolly in there. This is a beautiful, what was once a dairy farm, and a typical Devon lane, which is kind of carved into the rock either side to protect travellers long ago from the wind and the coastal rain. And I'm basically here because I've been looking for a couple of days now for this Butterwell, which is an ancient way of keeping dairy products cold, and I've just found it, so I'm very excited. So I thought I would show you. Just clear that out of the way. So I was looking actually at kind of eye level, because I was thinking modern day fridge eye level, but no, it's actually down on the floor, and I've just found it looks like a kind of letterbox made of stone. I'll show you how big it is. It's kind of like, it's low down and it's made of slate. So I've got a very scientific experiment which I'm going to do while I go detecting. I've brought a no expense spared Tesco own strawberry split and I'm going to put it in the Butterwell and leave it for about, I don't know, maybe half an hour, because it's supposed to be a few degrees cooler. So I'm going to do that now. I'll put it right in the bottom. There it is. And I'll come back and have my lolly in about, I don't know, maybe half an hour. It's lovely, isn't it? Framed by the ferns as well. What a lovely place to keep your dairy products cool before you had a fridge. I've got a signal here, but like literally I can't. I've tried working it with a trowel. It's as hard as a stone. I've got a signal here. I mean, whatever it is, I'm going to damage it if I do this. I think I'm going to have to take a 3 words and come back. How annoying. Another coin. Guarded by a worm. This one has got signs of a head on it. I'm going to hazard a guess at a Georgian coin. I think I'll have to give it a clean. Yeah, I think that's a Georgian coin, but I'm not sure which George. Bust facing left, I can never quite remember which one it is. So I'll have to go home and do a bit of research on that. I'll put you back now, Mr. Worm. Just heading back to the car. Got another signal. Oh. It's a tomback button, isn't it? 1700s again, I think. So lots of Georgian activity going on in these fields. Before we lose the light, just a little review of the fruits of my labours for today. Got a few careless Georgians around the place by the looks of things. I certainly have 2 Georgian coins. This one is a bit of a mystery. It's got a shield on it. It might be a gaming token. And these are not legal tender, of course, but they're like the precursor to a casino chip. And they were used for games like poker, games where you'd be placing your bets. So that is quite interesting. And I've seen that there are some that go back to the 1700s and on into the 1800s as well. Maybe it was a game of poker at the Smugglers Inn. This one certainly looks Georgian, but I just got to check which is the one with the bust facing left. Another George. Nice little label, looks like a kind of 1950s label. And a lovely little button, which I would imagine is 1700s maybe. And a coat hook. Just walking back to the car now. What a lovely day it's been. And I was just thinking about another sign of Bronze Age life here that I saw quite recently. Petrified forests that you can see at low tide. A Bronze Age man living here would have been living along the edge of the sea as we do today in coastal communities, but much lower than they are now. So that Bronze Age spearhead was sat on the sand when it was found in the 1990s, but in fact back then it would have been probably in a forest. Anyway, I saw the Petrified Forest and I'll show you some footage of it now. It's a 3,800-year-old piece of oak, Bronze Age, embedded in the mud. It's been carbon dated. Amazing. Moving somewhere new, it's kind of like starting a jigsaw, isn't it? You've got no knowledge at all, and then you get a piece and then it makes no sense, and then you put another piece with it and it matches and you go, okay, I've got that, that's making sense. Then you get another piece and it doesn't connect and you can't work it out how it fits. So that's how I feel about getting to know this new place and this new permission. I'm really starting to get a feel for it now. So as my day draws to an end, I feel like it's been a day of Georgian coins and gambling tokens, and thinking about smugglers and a time when this was a port. There would have been lots of people working in the fields here, and much like now, the centre of the universe was probably the pub, where there would have been games of poker going on and talk of smugglers coming in with barrels. So it's definitely been a good day. I feel like I've learnt a little bit more about where I live and found a few interesting bits and pieces. That's filling up that jigsaw.